Feedback. Good morning.
It worked this afternoon.
This is morning.
It is afternoon.
All right.
In
so
California.
Pass that back and forth.
Yeah, I was just going to say, let's set this here and hope the phone switch does not eat it.
It is
Who wants to start? Introductions, whatnot?
Okay, well, technically my name's on the panel.
Yeah.
All right, anyway, this is the, what did I call it?
The telco data.us panel.
I don't think my name, that was part of it, but it was
.us didn't go in.
The telco data talk panel.
it's something like that. Anyway, the whole intention of this, I don't know how it was billed or how many you know, but the point is to take questions and answers on telecommunications. All the stuff you want to know, but don't know where to ask.
That which we know better than to ask?
Right.
Exactly.
If you want to ask something you know better than to, if you think other people in the room don't know the answer and you think they'd benefit, well, why not? If you ask something stupid, we'll give you a stupid answer.
Oh boy, I didn't know that was on the table.
Might as well be. Anyway, we're going to start off. This is Joe and myself.
Or Nate.
Or Nate. Oh,
Yeah.
If we're all going first names.
If we're all going
Okay.
first names,
he does telco stuff. He does sysadmin, telephone, whatever.
basically communications, LAN, WAN, thrashing of telcos, that sort of thing.
Oh, and can I'd like to, give me that. All right, I'd like to issue a preemptive screw you to all the people in advertising who now call their field communications because they're afraid to call it advertising. No, communications you pick up and you dial. Advertising you look at and you say, God, I wish they hadn't cut those trees down. All right? That they're overloading my word and I'm pissed about it. Anyway, where do we want to start?
We should probably start by explaining Clicky because I've probably explained it about 200 times already. First thing everyone needs to know is Clicky is dangerous.
Don't touch it.
Yes. People kept coming up like, oh! No, maybe I shouldn't. Everybody's looking at me like, oh my God.
Yeah, after watching you get knocked on your ass that first time, it was pretty obvious.
Yeah, so he's trying to demonstrate it at the beginning of the week, and this is just even what talk battery will do to you. And even on a supposedly dead phone line, they will leave battery on. This thing kicks out what? Somewhere between 48 and 96, depending on what mood it's in?
Yes.
Okay, that's battery. You know, that's just, it's hanging out. It's not even ringing. So he's hitting there, pulse dialing, just by hitting two wires together, and the next thing we know, he's kind of falling backwards away from the phone switch.
Just kind of falling
Important
very quickly
safety tip.
backwards.
Yeah. Don't hold it so close to the end of the insulation that your fingers can slip onto the wire.
But what it is a stepping phone switch. That's being generous. It's an intercom.
Yeah, it's a very small phone switch. For an itty-bitty village, it would work.
Yes. It does not connect to other switches. It doesn't have a trunk port, meaning that it could function as a phone switch if you didn't care about connecting to anything else.
Can you fire it up and step a few relays?
That depends on whether we have power.
Yeah, there's power right here. I can
Okay,
plug it
the next question is are we going to kill something if we plug it in?
in. I don't think it draws that much.
No.
Famous last words.
Well, at least not when it's not intentionally trying to knock somebody away from it.
I was
It
about to
clicked.
say-
It woke
It
up.
clicked.
Okay, so it is at least I can hear the caps bouncing, so yeah.
Bouncing.
Well, they're
Do you have a modem in your computer? 'Cause it's got a phone jack.
I don't
hanging
think
out.
I have. I don't think I have drivers for it. It's a Win modem, and I run Windows.
hiss,
so-
hiss.
Windows XP comes with Win modem drivers.
Well, let's
Oh,
see.
hey, look, we got another microphone.
No, this is just for the video. These
Oh.
soft spoken.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you don't, we can
I
probably...
carry a large stick, so that's okay.
If it wasn't for the fact that the Cocoa got destroyed.
Yeah,
It's in pieces.
Payphone. Don't ask.
Actually, isn't that a Rubicon relic?
Yes.
Okay.
No modem.
I was making a hacker's reference. Yes, this is a payphone. Don't ask.
Okay. So while Mate's doing that...
No drivers.
No drivers.
Just take your
Bummer.
micro cassette recorder, insert $5 in quarters, and never again pay for a service that could be free if it weren't run by a bunch of profiteering gluttons.
You intended to go to a movie. I am impressed, sir. Not too many times.
All right, so I do actually just want to, because we didn't get this thing ready for demo.
No. All right, I'm going to unplug it just for safety's sake.
Yeah, I was about to say before we.
It is fired up.
It's
ready to rock. Come on.
Yeah. Anyway,
takers?
how it works is that there's a line finder relay and then the selector. And what happens is when you pick up the phone. Oh, I'm what?
Yeah, but this is video.
Sort of broken, but okay. There's a line finder relay, and when you pick up the phone, it just knows someone picked up the phone. The job of the line finder relay is to find the line that just picked up. When it does, it then patches it in here, and it does some stuff with the relays. We'll just pretend this is like the magic happens here sort of section, because holy crap, I don't know.
This is all.
Then it goes in, this routes 2 calls at once. There's 2 finders and 2 selectors. And what happens is this absorbs your pulse digits. So you'll be like dial 3. When it terminates, it then uses this relay to, it's constantly clicking when there's a line off hook. And it times the ringing cycle. And it's actually putting out ringing voltage. It's the ring generator relay. And the destination port gets put into the ring generator relay, where it starts sending something, how much? Do you know?
It should be. It's
U.S.
pretty,
standard is 90 volts, but I don't know what they
Yeah,
really
approximately 90 volts at 20 hertz.
we know it won't fry a modem.
Yeah, we haven't cooked any modems yet. But it definitely rings pretty much anything we've thrown on the line, including mechanical ringers.
This is pretty much a subset of what every single phone switch in the United States up until about, the 60s?
Mm-hmm.
And even on through the early 80s did, except you had selectors that were, 2-axis selectors that were doing pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, your voice isn't going on the video, so you need to, one of those
talk
mics has to
at
be-
him?
Yeah, or stand closer to him.
Okay. These things are still common. Not in the U.S., thankfully, unless there's some rural Appalachian telco that this is hanging out in, and in which case I feel sorry for the poor bastards that are hooked up to it. I have been told there you can still find quite a few of stepping gear in third world countries, because after we took it all out, we shipped it overseas. Merry Christmas.
We traditionally screw other countries, and this is one of the winning ways.
Yeah, and rather than upgrading to some of the newer 5ESS or I don't know what's even current these days.
5E is still current.
5E is still pretty current. They they just go to cellular switches instead, rather than pulling the extra copper and actually plunking down a couple of mil on a new PGT infrastructure. They just drop in a cell switch instead of just going off these things.
Because the infrastructure is more fun too, especially countries where you have no established rights of way, things like that. You drop a cell tower, you're done.
Anyway.
I wanted to point out that one of the reasons that's actually pushing the schedule, the deployment schedule of the electronic switches, there were, number 1 ESS is hybrid mechanical electronic. It's electronically controlled, but all the actual line switching is done by mechanisms not that dissimilar from this. And they're hard to maintain. You've got moving relays and lots of things. The contacts need cleaning, the relays need replacing a lot. And the people who know how to do that work are retiring. And when you have infrastructure you can no longer maintain, you need to replace it. And so, the last couple 1A ESSs in Ameritech territory were just replaced in the last year or 3.
They did that to Waterford?
Waterford, a couple in Detroit, Roseville. There were a lot of places still running on these old switches, and the people are retiring. They're taking the buyout, or they're just dying, or whatever. And cadmium in the relay contacts, who knows? But so the deployment schedule was kind of rushed because of that, and it's really interesting to watch them take out one of these old switches, because everything now is in cabinets, and it's all nice, and you just wheel it off the truck, you roll it upstairs, you take the feet off, you bolt it to the floor. The old stuff could be in 23-inch frames, or it could be in 40-something, these wide frames or whatever, and a lot of them were essentially built on site, back in the 50s, 60s, 70s when they were installed. And so you don't really want to cut those pieces apart when you take it out and ship it to Mexico or wherever it's going. And so they're trying to take out like 4 frames in a row in one unit, so they can just take the entire, trunk selector frame and run it down to some other country. Trying to get that thing out of the side of the building is impressive.
I sometimes have to cut a hole in the brick of the CO.
Yeah, most COs that are multiple floors, if you look at a lot of the older central offices, you'll see doors that are just going nowhere.
Oh yeah,
on the
a
side
door
of the
coming out
building.
the side of the building.
Royal Oak, Maine is a good example of this. You just look at the side of the building and there's like a door 4 floors up. And there's no stairs, just a door. And they're actually used to, when they installed the equipment, they would bring a crane up and they'd open that door and they'd swing the equipment off from the crane into that door.
There's no swing about it.
You don't want this hitting the side. You don't want $1 million
Right.
phone switch hitting the side of the building.
It's not like they were penduluming it.
Yeah.
They were
They
kind of
hang-
like reaching for it.
Yeah, they hang it there, like outside the door, and then they tell a couple of barely above minimum wage guys standing inside, like on the 3rd floor of the CO, looking down, just reach out there and grab it and pull it in. And we'll let the lead out of the crane and let it set down as you pull it into the building.
Don't fuck up or you will die.
Pretty much. Yeah. But the electronic equipment's a lot nicer. It's a lot lighter,
It's usually rack mountable.
and it's modular. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, you take out the heavy parts and you carry it up the stairs or whatever you have to do in a building with no elevator. You carry the other parts up the stairs, you put them back together. But the old mechanical stuff was not so kind.
Though it does last, as is apparent. And you can see when it fails, because it arcs really nicely. Do you want to open up to questions here? Or?
Absolutely, the whole thing is questioned.
I was about to say, at this point, questions, phone information, anybody's ever been curious about and wanted to know?
Can I ask a question about the data site?
I guess that would be fine, yes.
Pass the mic over.
Have a mic.
Maybe, I apologize if it's like in the FAQ section or something on the side of this, obviously haven't read it, question, but the source for your data, what the source says,
Uh-huh.
when I put in an MJ and XX and I get, this is the address, these are the exchanges, I mean, is that public and furthermore free information? That's an alert, isn't it?
Well, they do sell it in LERG, but they also, for regulatory reasons, the North American Numbering Plan Administrator, or NANPA, actually has to publish a certain amount of the data for accountability reasons and for competitive reasons. They have to publish that information. It is actually available for download on their site. Yes, for free. It's not as comprehensive as what I have. It simply says this phone number goes to this switch, it's in this rate center, it's an Ameritech, good luck. And actually the number pooling is publicly available but really awful. So you see the thousands block data in there, and there's actually a spider that crawls a web page that is run by a different part of NANPA, and holy crap, is that some hairy stuff. It actually has to parse HTML simply because...
Your hand is reflecting audio onto the mic.
Oh, okay.
Feedback, so.
Simply because they have to publish this information. It doesn't mean they have to do it in a machine accessible way. And I would tell you exactly how to do it, but it's really unkind, and I'm not wanting to encourage people to do it, because if too many people do it, they'll probably use that as an excuse to stop giving the data away rather than put it in a machine-readable format. That's how phone companies are. They think this data is private. They treat it as if it's proprietary. It's really not. These are your phone numbers. They're allocated, and the phone network is really a public resource. It was subsidized by government-mandated monopolies for years, and what you didn't pay them in grants out of your tax dollars, you paid them as a forced monopoly. You didn't have a choice. Canadian data is remarkably harder to come by, simply because they still have monopolies in certain sense.
For the most part, they do.
For the most part. And as such, you can't even get switch data. You can simply say,